Welcome to another episode of Bailcast. I am Gio.
And I'm Bart.
And I need to clear my throat.
Damn, that's the earliest.
You know,
that's a record.
You sabotaged me.
How did I sabotage you?
You sabotaged me.
How? That's a record. You gave me,
so I was like, man, Papa Bear's being so cuny. He got me some coffee. Mm-hmm. But this one has milk in it. And we all know what milk does to saliva.
What?
Makes it all thick. And now I'm going, excuse me.
I don't think it has anything to do with milk. You've been like your whole podcasting career.
Hey, I think the past maybe 2 months, it was mainly you doing it.
I don't think so.
All right, well, sorry. That is a world record.
Because if I feel it, I push it down without making noise. I try to.
Oh, like you squeeze your throat together?
I try to go like. Yeah, I try not to do that.
I make my throat itchy.
I try to just like make it go down with that. While you're talking, I do my thing, so I don't have to go. And if I really can't, then I have to make noise.
Damn, you're a professional. A true professional. Yeah. Well, I'm happy I'm breaking my own records live. Bikini.
Well, can you bring that coffee back?
Yes.
So I was actually really happy about this. So we were in Vegas buying groceries, getting shabu shabu. And you guys know we love shabu shabu if you guys watch the vlogs. But I saw this, Mr. Brown. And all my kids out there that have shopped at Asian grocery markets know what the hell this is. So when I saw this was actually very, very nostalgic to me. Because this has been existing probably as long as Vitasoy. You know what Vitasoy is?
Vitasoy?
I think it's called Vitasoy. It's that soy milk in a carton.
Oh, no. Why would I know that?
Oh, okay. So yeah, growing up like in America, all my friends have like High C, Minute Maid, or milk in
the
a
American
carton.
shit.
The American shit, right? And I was the weird kid at school with my lunchbox. I open it and there's like soy milk in there, or there's like barley milk, like the weird stuff that you find at Asian markets. But this,
even for adults, now that's weird.
It's weird.
If an adult were to open up the fucking lunchbox, and they have that.
But I've always liked that. And then that holds a special place in my heart for two reasons. One, because
this character is really cute.
I always like the
Italian
character.
Guy.
I always like the character, and it was just so cool to see a non-American can size.
Oh yeah, I like this size a lot.
So it's always like sometimes you don't need all of that, and sometimes you just need something like this. But the part that I love the most is my dad loved this. So for Asians are usually really frugal, and they're usually buying like one or two things.
So this is okay. So is this considered like Starbucks of?
No, I think
is it high end?
No. It's considered like cheap shit for sure. Because I don't think there's any high end Asian stuff.
Or I'm just saying within the market, like the Asian market space, right? Like, would this be a knockoff of something else?
Oh no, this is it.
Okay, so this is like if your dad bought this, he's splurging. This
would be our Folgers, I think.
Oh.
Our Nestle.
Oh.
Or Nescafe, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's what it is. And my dad would buy everything. He would, Asians are pretty frugal, but he would buy 2 bags of, one is a ton of these guys, and then a stack of Hershey chocolates.
Oh, damn.
So when I think of this, I always think of my dad. And that's why like when I saw you holding it, it made me feel good.
Oh, that's cutie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that.
Did you have any weird snacks growing up where you're like, oh, this is so embarrassing to have at school. Don't look at my lunch.
No, not at all. Because I wasn't like a minority in the school, right? Like it was mainly Mexican, and then or like Hispanic, and then it was Asian people, and then like a sprinkle of other things.
I see.
Like a handful of white people, a handful of black people.
And all the Mexicans brought Mexican snacks?
Yeah, like we were all just sharing. Like if we brought out the gancitos, for example, like that's our version of like a Twinkie. Then like a person across the room would see that and be like, oh shit, I want a gansito too,
Yeah.
Because we all know what it is.
I was the minority out of a minority out of minorities.
So I get the first 2 out of minority layers. The first one is because you're
Asian.
Right. And then like a very deep Asian because of your mom.
Yeah, so I'm Asian, and then also I'm Chinese, right? So growing up in Cerritos, the majority of Asians, so Asians is like is Korean or Filipino. So Chinese, there's only like 1 or 2 of us. So when I brought out the soy stuff, like
are we talking about in the 90s?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So when I was hanging out with like the other kids, like the Asians already are like a minority, right? But there's still a good amount because it's pretty diverse. But like, let's say Koreans brought out Korean snacks. You know, when they crumple up all the noodles, the shinramyeon.
Okay.
When they bring that out, it's pretty normal. A bunch of Koreans do it. A bunch of Koreans bring kimbap to school. It's pretty normal. No Korean experienced that. Ew, what is that, sushi? No one experienced that because it's pretty normal, right? So even the white kids, the black kids, Hispanic kids are like, okay, that's what the Koreans eat. They like to bring that kimbap sushi looking thing. Normal. But when I have, for me, because I'm Chinese in the Korean group, Koreans don't really drink soy milk like that. So when I bring soy milk, the black kids and white kids are like, ew, what's that? Right?
And now the Asian kids.
And then even the Asian kids who are supposed to have my back are like, ew, what's that? Right? And then the next layer is when I pulled out my, I always talk about my stained glass window sandwich.
Stained glass window sandwich. No.
Because my mom, she baked her own bread.
Oh, right. Okay.
So she baked her own bread and there's dates and carrots and all that stuff.
Yeah, and it becomes transparent.
Yeah, and so she just puts it in there, right?
That's fucking funny.
So it's a baked loaf. And then when you slice it like this, when you have like dates and all kinds of stuff.
It wasn't going in that smooth either.
No, she was like, she's cheap. So of course she's not even, so she bakes this loaf of bread in this Panasonic loaf baker thing. Of course she's not buying a bread knife. Because that's American shit, right?
No, she was using like plastic knives.
Probably like a butcher knife or like Chinese people use that butcher knife for everything. She slices it so it's completely uneven, makes me sandwiches with it, but it has so much bullshit in it. You could hold it up to a light. You could
picture one side being really thin and the other side of bread being
It looks exactly like that. And it looks like a kaleidoscope because there's fucking yellow, there's like a pineapple, a carrot.
There's a pineapple?
Fucking beets. Yeah, whatever. And then so I
think she was just cleaning out her fridge and felt guilty throwing shit
honestly,
out. She's
she probably was.
We're making bread.
She probably was, but that's, yeah. So I felt like a minority out of minority of a minority. So like when finally my mom would just buy me the lunch tickets where it's like $1.25 for the cafeteria lunch, I felt like, oh, thank God I finally belong.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I didn't feel that. I never really felt like a minority, which is
ever
kind of cool. Yeah. No, I didn't.
Do you want to know what it feels like?
No. I mean, like what? Like the negative and the positive? Like just a general experience?
Just not. So I think like negative and positive. The way that I view it is when you're young, the negative and positive is out of your control because you're out of control of your own mind. You know what I mean? But I think when you're an adult, you're in control of the negative or positive reception of things.
Yeah.
So now, like if I'm at a supermarket, like let's say, we're living in Vegas and there's like more predominantly white places. If I go and I see a white guy look at me, doesn't say anything, looks at me and then just looks away, it's up to me to make up the story. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I'm like, oh shit, he thinks I'm a chink in this town or a fucking Californian.
Or what's really happening, he's like, damn, there's Barquan. I'm such a fan.
Or there's that. Or there's, I'm not even thinking about you. You're literally invisible in front of my eyes because I can't believe I forgot to pick up my daughter from soccer practice.
Yeah.
Right? There's my perception, like that story I made up. So for me, I'm like, because you've never felt like a minority, whether negative or positive, is that something you even wanted to put yourself into to feel what it feels like to kind of have to make up stories, good or bad, or just stories in general?
That's a good question. I'm really thinking about that. I think the most I've probably felt like a minority was probably when I went to Taiwan for the first time.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
But it was such a mild case of it.
Was a mild case because you don't look Asian there, and you're also tall there.
I didn't feel tall.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe I'm just so oblivious, or maybe I'm just so it just didn't feel like I didn't feel uncomfortable ever.
And you dressed very provocatively for their standards.
Why? Because I was wearing sleeveless,
like a tank top, like that's huge.
No. Yeah. That's really provocative.
Yeah. At least where my grandparents are from. They're from like the southern area. So it's even more conservative. It's not with the times. Like Taipei is like with the times. So there might be more provocative looking people like Seoul or Tokyo or whatever. But if you're like in Osaka, Japan or something, it's like that,
Okay. Well, yeah, I didn't feel any of that.
Oh.
Yeah. I think that was like the most I've felt like a minority.
So you're just oblivious to it?
I think so. Or maybe it's just me assigning a title to it. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I felt it the first 5 minutes and I'm like, oh, I get it. Like I look different. Cool. Moving on. And then maybe that was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you just see people as people?
What do you mean? Like I don't see their ethnicity or
something like that, or you just don't see differences.
I mean, I see differences for sure. Like I see them, but I don't think I focus on that. So I think I see differences because I mean, like you've said, you know, like things are just shapes and figures and some don't look like the others. But I'm never like stuck on that. It's just such a fast, quick thing.
Wow.
It's like recognizing the color that a shirt that someone's wearing. Like you don't focus on it, but like you picked up on it.
Wow.
Wait, you don't do that?
No, I think either I'm way more insecure than you are or I have more anxiety or something. Because like, you know, like
So I think it also depends on what I'm doing at that time. So I think when I'm talking about this, I'm talking from a place of like me being on vacation mode. Like it's a different approach, I feel like. But
I think feel that here in Vegas?
Where I don't see people?
Yeah.
Right now, I would say I look at people. I see them because I'm like, this is new for me. Like I've been born and raised in California. So I'm just trying to like figure out who's here. So I think now I'm looking at that because I'm going like, oh, there's these many of like my Mexican people, or there's these many Asians here, or there's these many white people, not for any other reason than just figuring out who my community is. But I think once I understand all of that, then I think at that point, I'm not on that path anymore.
Damn.
What? You're making me feel so different.
You are. Because I think that's so cool. That you're, maybe you don't have anxiety or insecurity or something. Because for me, living here now, especially in Summerlin, where I am the minority again. Growing up in LA, I never feel like the minority because there's so many Asians, so many Hispanics, right?
Yeah.
Growing here, like when we go play at the park, like there's probably me and one other Asian parent. Right?
That's nuts because I see that too, but I never go like, wow, Papa is just the only Asian here.
Yeah, so I do. I have the same feeling that I have after I moved here is almost the same exact feeling that I felt when I joined boot camp for the first time.
What?
Yeah, 90.
That's crazy.
Like 90 people in my platoon, maybe 3 Asian people, and then I feel like I become this unintentional Asian ambassador, like an Asian diplomat for the Asian American peoples. Not that I want to, but I just feel like that's just how it plays out, you know, especially, you know, because I'm looking around the playground and I would see people just look at me like, interesting.
Where do you think that thought came from though?
What thought?
Of like you having to uphold an Asian reputation when there's no representation. Hey, bars.
I don't know. I think when I see someone look at me with strange eyes.
What does that mean?
When I see someone look at me with strange eyes, I feel like it's up to me to explain, you know?
No.
Like not even in a racial sense, but like let's say 2 people they meet at a crosswalk or they meet at a line at the supermarket, right? And then it's like, oh, I was just gonna grab that. Oh, okay, cool, grab that.
Yeah.
Because you grab that, I'll grab this. Go ahead. Oh, that's heavy. Yeah, you go first. You grab it first. Just like you gotta clear some shit up, right? So those strange eyes I'm talking about isn't like you fucking chink. It's more like, oh, there's a that feeling, right? And I sense that in boot camp where there's 90 of those people. It's like, where's those 3 people over there? And then so I gotta like I almost feel like the internal dialogue is like, do you speak English? Never seen it before. Are you nice? Like almost dogs at a dog park.
But where did that come from? That part, like, has that happened?
Of wanting to
of like assuming, or not assuming, but like kind of assuming that that's the approach, right? Of going like, wait, do you speak English? Like, has that happened to you prior to feeling this way?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I mean, we see it all the time, right? Like, let's say if my mom goes to, I mean, it doesn't happen as much anymore, but in early 90s, if she goes to a supermarket, it's like, do you need help with the water? You know? Like, it's like a American person speaking like that to my mom. And my mom does need it to be slowed down like that.
You see?
So it works, right? But then if she goes to me, she goes, can you help your mother get water to car? And I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, oh, okay, cool. So maybe that's where it happened, where it's like...
That all makes sense, though.
Exactly. So because I understand the reality of that situation,
yeah.
When I feel that, like, I can see the strange eyes. Like, do I need to slow it down for you?
That's cute though, because I've never. Have I been in the area or like present when someone assumes some shit like that? Like where?
I don't know. I feel like we're so good with it now that when it happens, it just
or we're just so used to it.
It just rolls into it. You know, it just builds momentum. Like if I feel like if I met someone, some buttfuck town in the middle of nowhere, and they met me, it would probably start off with like, "Hi, how are you?" Right? And it'll get to like us talking about, I don't know, sports, in like 5 minutes. Really fast conversation. Boom, 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 boom. Like I'm so good at, you know, I know how to clear up the, are you going there? I'm going there, or I'm going there. Because I don't get stuck on the, oh my God, he's so fucking racist to me. Because then once you get stuck there, there's no momentum of finding common ground. You know? So I'm good at finding common ground. And I think that clearing the, finding the common ground is what I feel for the first time in a long time when we hang out in Vegas. And so like I'll see people look at me with the strange eyes, like like that. And then like that's why I think I'm a little bit more extroverted than I usually am. I'm a little bit more communal. So if someone sees me and go, "Hey, how are you? How are you doing?" You know, like immediately let them know I speak English. I'm from around here, and I've just sparked up so many more conversations because I feel like I am the unintentional ambassador. Because I don't know how they're viewing me, but I always want to give everyone the benefit of the doubt. But if I end up being the quiet Asian man, then I kind of steal the deal in their brain. Oh, that's that quiet Asian man. And if they see another quiet Asian man, I think that's how stereotypes develop. They go, man, there's all these Asians moving into our city and they're all quiet. I guess they're quiet people, huh? And I don't blame them for that. It's because these stereotypes are the sum of all of our behaviors. So I think for me to, you know, I want to be a part of this community. I want to be friends. I want to meet Taika's parents and like trade numbers. Your kid comes to my house, my kid goes to your house. Like I feel this extra need of like, dun, 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 the Captain America, Asian America, you know? So I go like, I try to be a little bit more outside of myself. And I haven't felt that in a long time. And not that it's not comfortable. It's just an extra step that I realized I needed to do. Yeah.
Very interesting.
You don't feel like that? You don't go like, I'm here and then like, everyone looks at me as like a white person or whatever, or I'm not normal. I
think it's more of like me representing a feature of mine or me representing for females. I think I have that more on my back than.
So females is above.
Yeah, I think it's above anything else. Because I feel like that's the most different. Or at least I feel like, you know, growing up, I felt like that was what kept me in a box a lot of the times. Like, oh, you're not supposed to be doing that. You're a girl. Girls shouldn't be doing that stuff. So I think that's why maybe I defend that a little bit more.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Okay. On that note, I'm going to pause real quick for our sponsors.
This episode of Bailcast is brought to you by one of my favorite sponsors, because I'm for any sponsor that is going to make you better, improve you, give you a skill set, give you something that'll make you an asset to your team or any other team that you become a part of. And it's Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community that offers membership with meaning. And there's so much to explore, so many real projects, and it's taught by industry professionals. So it's not taught by like a theoretical teacher who hasn't been practicing what they've been teaching in a long time. And they got some new classes up on here, and I freaking love a lot of these. A lot of you guys ask me, how do I get started in the YouTube space, the social media, the content creation space? Well, here's a bunch of classes that are super interesting to me. One, you got video for Instagram. Tell an engaging story in less than 1 minute by Halise Narvaez. There's another one called Find Your Style, 5 Exercises to Unlock Your Creative Identity by Andy J. Pizza. You guys know I love pizza. Yeah. And that's freaking awesome because I know a lot of people, they feel creative, but they're like, how do I channel this out? So, well, you got some classes that you can take, and you can take in your own time, watch during lunch, watch it before or after work. And right now you can get a free trial of premium membership if you go to Skillshare.com/Bail, BEAW. And if you like it, the annual subscription is less than $10 a month. So I think it's incredibly affordable. It's really good for you. It'll help you open your brain. And even if you're not in the creative field, you just want to have a different perspective on how to do things, this is it. Go to Skillshare.com/Beaw, BEAW, to get a free trial of premium membership.
All right, and we're back. Yeah, like I've always felt that more than like having to carry the Mexican reputation.
And do you feel like the female flag is something you got to kind of be outside of yourself a little bit more? Like you know how kind of for me, like I know that the stereotypes are based on some sort of truth and reality. So the stereotypes are the sum of all the behaviors that people have seen, right?
Yeah.
And so I know if I can change it a little bit, someone else changes it a little bit, other people change it a little bit, then no longer is that stereotype the go-to.
Right.
Do you feel like you have to kind of help adjust and alter all of that too?
I don't know if it was that calculated. You know, I think I always try to be like in my own insecure mind, because it obviously does stem from an insecurity. But I think for me, it's more of like, I just want to show you the alternative. It's not as calculated as like the sum of the whatever is going to make up the stereotype. And if I'm one, then someone else, like I don't think about it that far ahead.
I don't think about it that far ahead either. It's just talking about it now. I thought about it like that.
See.
But usually it's I represent myself and you take me for who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you think I'm cool, then we're cool and we'll become friends.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
No, I like that. No, for me, it's more like I just want to show you an alternative for however you thought things were. And that's kind of how
Does it make you feel weird if they put you in the same bunch as the conventional thought of a female?
I think it's old school thinking. Yeah.
Does it make you, does it upset you? Does it irritate you?
Depending on the context, it can irritate me. But
like, let's say you're at Petco and you're buying dog food. Like, man, I'll take it to your car for you. Do you go, bitch? I'm fucking strong, motherfucker.
No, I don't get offended like that. I'm just like, oh, like I find it silly.
You go, oh, you silly goose.
Yeah. I think it's silly. I'm like, oh, it's silly that you think that.
And who takes the dog back to the car? You do, or you let them?
Oh, I let them take it. What the fuck?
Oh shit! So you are reinforcing it. Then you're not doing anything.
No, I'm kidding. I needed to make the joke, dude.
That's the equivalent of like, oh man, this math problem's hard. Here, you do it, Bart. I'm like, here you go, buddy. That's the same equivalent.
No. I just wanted to make the joke. I said, no, I'll take it. And I make sure I make it look easy. Even if it's hard and I go, oh, fuck, I fucked up. I actually can't take it. Yeah. Then I'm like, nope, I got it. And I'm like, oh, fuck, on the inside. Like, shit.
So you do feel like you owe it to something to prove the otherwise. Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Where do you think that came from for you?
I think a lot of it stemmed from my parents. I think a lot of it stemmed from...
they assumed wrongly of you?
Like, no, not even of me, right? But it, like, growing up, my mom was always like, and I don't blame her. That's just her era and probably her mom's era and before that. But it was like, a lady doesn't sit this way. A lady doesn't chew this way. A lady doesn't hold her pencil this way. You know, like, and they were the most, like, superficial reasons for why a lady needs to do things a certain way. Like, it wasn't anything of importance, right? Like, it's like, when a lady addresses a room, this is how she, like, it wasn't anything that big. It was more like, when you sit down, you have to make sure you're always crossing your legs. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you're focusing, like, that's like my pinnacle. Like, that's like my peak of like how you're gonna know who I am by the way I sit. Like, I thought that was so weird.
I see.
So I think like from that is what stemmed like everything that I became.
I was like that too. I think like a lot of my mom, it's like, you're gonna be cold. And I'm like, well, how come Johnny could wear shorts? Johnny's white. His legs are really strong. I'm like, what? What does that mean? That means like Asians got weak legs and I'm gonna catch cold in my legs or something. Like, I just heard that all the time. Like Asians do this. That sucks. So what's funny is like some of the stereotypes are Asian reinforced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I want to play basketball. Nah, you're not gonna be as tall as those guys. And I'm like, okay. You know, it's like, and it's reinforced by ourselves, which is so dumb.
That sucks.
Yeah. And then I think that's why all it takes is hearing that from the other side. Then people are like, oh, seal the deal for sure. It's like this. Yeah. You know?
Damn, that sucks.
It's weird, huh?
Yeah.
Because even when I first started going on YouTube, I think the biggest thing that stood out to a lot of people was like being slightly more jacked as an Asian person.
Right.
And there's only really 3 of us during that time. It was just me, Han, and Ice One Cube. And so I wasn't a personal trainer, and people kept asking me for fitness advice across the board. Didn't matter if they're Asian, white, black, whatever. They're just like, oh, that guy's like, you know, a little bit more jacked.
I remember like almost 10 out of 10 times if a guy was helping you with anything, like any service or whatever, I was like, I know this conversation is going to end with like a gym something or like, what do you do? Or what's like your split or some shit.
Yeah. And it's funny because that was something that was reinforced by my people that I grew up with, that if you lift weights, you will get jacked. You know, like I feel
regardless of genetics.
Yeah, I feel like I trained at like the Golds of like San Gabriel Valley, where it's like, or the Venice of San Gabriel Valley, where you just have all these super buff Asian dudes in there because they all came out of jail, and that's who I learned how to lift from. And it wasn't ever weird, you know. So it was kind of cool that I was able to be in an environment where almost the exact opposite stereotype was reinforced.
Yeah. Me seeing an Asian cholo would have blew my mind back in the day.
Really?
Well, yeah, because like
I've seen so many of those.
Well, I'd never seen that. I only knew Mexican cholos. Like I only knew, or black cholos. Like those are the only ones I was ever exposed to. So even seeing like a white cholo or just any other ethnicity, I'm like, whoa, this is weird. So like after I met you was the first time I heard about like Asian gangs. Like I had no idea. Like I grew up in such a small bubble, you know? Yeah. And like if I would have stayed in that environment, like I would have, oh my God, the ideas I would fucking have in my head would be so small.
Isn't it crazy that like we're in neighboring cities, but the cultures and everything's so different?
That we're what?
Neighboring cities.
Oh, yeah. Super different.
Because our like Monterey Park was probably like the Asian gang capital of the world. And it was literally like a city over from where you grew up and hung out.
This is how freaking ignorant I was. It just hit me. In high school, because remember I told you like I grew up with a lot of Mexicans and a lot of Asians. So there was a stint like maybe a year or two where we had a lot of like rumbles, like big fights. And it was always between the Asians and the Mexicans. But I just thought it was like Mexican like cholos or whatever, or wannabes with just bad Asians. Like I didn't even think Asians, like that's how like removed them being in gangs was. Stupid, huh?
Yeah.
It just hit me. Like I didn't even
like these guys, they just all dress the same and look and they keep doing these weird hand things they were with copying. The same hand things.
I thought they were copying our culture. You know what I mean? Or like the Mexican style. Like I thought they were just copying.
They were.
Well, yeah, but I didn't think they took it as far as starting their own gang.
Oh, I see.
That's how ignorant I was.
Yeah, because like the Asian communities in black neighborhoods have a more black gang culture. Asian gangs in Hispanic areas have more of like a cholo Hispanic gang culture. It's like, and then Asians in a predominantly Asian place have its own Asian gang culture.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like the Asian gang culture is like the more GQ with like the polo shirt and like baggy pants, but like you tuck it in, but it's like pretty much folds over.
Yeah.
It's more that look, dress shirt look.
Yeah. K-Swiss.
Yeah. And then the cholo look.
Cortezes, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's just I just didn't think about that. Like I didn't, I'm telling you, my exposure bubble at that time was so small.
When's the first time that you were like, oh man, this world is much bigger than I thought it was?
I think I've always felt like this world is much bigger, but I just didn't.
But when was it confirmed though?
Oh, the first time I ever got to travel internationally.
When was that?
When we went to Paris. Well, I guess. Well, okay, that was like maybe my second or third time because I'd flown into Mexico. But I mean, it's such a short flight. I didn't even want to consider it. But yeah, the first time it was, we went to Paris.
Because it was what did that make you feel, or how did that like?
I just felt, so yeah, my bubble is so small. I just felt so big in that world. Because I already understood it. Like I understood the people. I understood the culture. I had seen all corners of it already.
The Parisians?
No, in my circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I felt big in that space. I felt like, not above it, but I don't know how else to explain it. You know what I mean? Like
but you felt very familiar. Like I know this place like the back of my hand. Like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then when I went to Paris, I felt so small. I just felt like, holy shit. Not only do I not recognize any of these buildings. The air smells different. Like I can't even understand what they're talking about. Like, and like I make it sound like I had never been exposed to any type of culture. Like I definitely was, but it's just so different when you watch it on TV, or in a movie or whatever, than it is you actually experiencing it firsthand.
Yeah. That is such a big phenomenon because, you know, when people, they see someone for the first time in real life, like, oh, that's fucking Will Smith. Will Smith. Oh my fucking God, that's crazy. I felt that when I went to Paris the first time too. Because it was like the bridge says it was like, you know, it's like hand engraved with cobblestones and it says like built by like King Louis the 14th or some shit. And I'm like, King Louis the 14th, I fucking read about you in the social study books. What the fuck? And it was just so crazy to see a manifestation of something that I read theoretically. And then you know how like, do you get the, you know, the Alfred Hitchcock?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like zoom in while you pull out type of thing? Or you push forward while you zoom out? And it has that whoa, that look, you know, his infamous shot.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, like the shot he created, but I'm trying to think if I've experienced that. I'm sure.
So I get those a lot, right? On where I'm like, whoa, like that. So the minute like I remember looking at the King Louis the 14th, and I go, wow, this is where those French people with high heels and lice walked around, right? It clicked in my mind. And then immediately it goes to, oh shit. No wonder Timmy understood history and social studies so much better than I do.
Timmy?
Yeah.
Timmy's from the US.
Yeah. Because I'm like, this motherfucker.
Because the guy was traveling.
He's been traveling as a kid. You know, so it just things that like, because like, you know, sometimes you're sitting in class, I'm like, how come I get it, he doesn't? Or how come he gets it and I don't? And you don't understand why. And I also don't want to make assumptions. I'm like, maybe he is smarter, or I don't know, maybe he's just better at history. I don't know. But you know, I'm like, why does he get it? Why does he talk about fucking George Washington like it's his uncle, you know? And then that part hits and I'm like, cause he's fucking been to all these places, and it just goes, whoa, like that, right? And I'm just like, oh shit.
So stupid.
Why? So I'm like, this is why people travel. This is why it's good to bring kids out at a young age. When kids, they go on their summer trips all the time. No wonder the world is that much, like you're expanding the world.
Yeah.
So the textbook doesn't feel that heavy. You don't feel like you're trying to cram, you know, things into your brain because you've been there. You've seen the Aztec pyramids. You've been to Egypt. You've been to the Great Wall of China.
I've seen none of those.
I know, but like these kids that have been, like, you know, like the more well-off kids, they come back. And they just talk about things in a different way. And I've noticed that ever since I was a kid.
Fine. All right. I'll give it to you. Because I'm like, I don't know. I was a dumbass kid. And when I traveled, I didn't come back saying shit. But no, I did. For sure I did. Because I even knew like the climate was different, you know? Yeah. So that's when I felt small.
I even had went to Tulum like not too long ago.
What?
I get them all the time. I was telling you.
And what was the about?
That one was like, I've always wondered, like, you know, in the Native American depictions, I'm like, these fools are wearing loincloths and shit. I'm like, aren't they cold or whatever? And you go to Tulum and it's hot as fuck and it's fucking humid. They're like, whoa, I see why they wear loincloths. And they're like, I see why they're fucking butt naked, you know?
It's fucking hot.
Yeah, it's fucking hot. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like when I see things, I just have a lot of questions all the time about
amazing.
Things. And I think it also helps to like, so I grew up going back and forth from Taiwan to America a lot. So I've seen juxtaposition, you know? Taiwan, it's like, although certain parts of it seem very first world, other parts are extremely third world. So you just see these crazy juxtapositions. So I understand what first world living is like, what I should be grateful for, what life can easily become, and what we think a lot of things are necessities aren't actually necessities. You know, like I've seen people live off of $100 a month for food and stuff like that. So I'm constantly seeing this and I'm going, whoa, and I'm just picking all these things up, you know?
Damn, you stay in the Twilight Zone.
I do. But I enjoy it because it clicks to me.
Do you think all those questions though prevent you from being present? Because like so you're present, right? And then once the synapses or whatever, they're like connected, clicks, then are you like,
do a warrior's handshake in my brain.
Yeah, then are you just gone? You're like now fucking, I don't know. Fucking mind is beautiful.
When it's done, I go back to present.
How long does that take?
Probably seconds.
Oh.
It's just quick, fast things. You know, like yesterday we saw like dads pitching balls to sons, right?
Yeah.
And they're like in their
It
baseball
could have been
outfit.
uncle or could have been just a private coach.
Yeah, and I was just like, whoa, that's how kids get so good. You know, I'm like, damn, like these guys just get the reps in.
Okay, you know when you asked me about the Alfred Hitchcock thing, I
Yeah.
didn't know it happened to you that many times over stupid shit like that too.
All the time.
I can't I relate.
All
man.
the fucking time.
It's the dumbest shit.
Really? Why?
You're like, no wonder they get good at baseball. Their dads are in their life.
No, because are there ever times like I'm a big fan of not miracles. Obviously, everyone's a fan of a miracle, but I'm a big fan of
Not me. Fuck. I'd never want a miracle.
I'm fans of like I don't know, extreme performance.
Okay, what?
Like if you're in junior high and we're all playing
like
basketball.
Everyone's a fan of a fucking
and we're playing like junior high
like a prodigy.
Yeah, exactly. We're playing junior high
everyone's impressed
level
and
basketball. And then there's a guy that just comes out of nowhere and he's just dunking when he's 13. You're like, what? Right? I don't think people
You became Lil Jon.
I know. Okay. Because I don't think people view it or are a fan of that as much as I am. It never seems like it hits people like that.
Give me an example.
Let's say I see like a 90-pound girl at the gym, deadlifts 315. I'm like, oh shit. I feel compelled to go up to her and go, damn, that was fucking crazy. How long have you been lifting? Like, I'm just like taken back by it.
I think a lot of people feel that internally. Yeah. I don't think they do the extra step to go out of their way to dabs.
I see. But for me, that in all regards, right? If I see a guy like cut someone off on the freeway, whoa, almost hits the fucking whatever, and he's like finally like gets back into place. When he drives, I'll probably drive up to him like, fuck, that shit was crazy. You know?
That's tight. You're not a hater.
But then later on, if I see him at like the go-kart tracks, I'll probably be like, whoa, that's how you got so good. Because I'm always like, wow, how did he do that? That was crazy.
You're so stupid. Whoa.
Whoa. Because it's unexplained why there's such... It's like finding the solution to like the craziest problem you've seen, you know?
Yeah. No, I think a lot of people feel that.
Really?
Yeah, but then it's the social anxiety or just like the haterade, you know what I mean? The haterism that they don't want to do the extra of like, yo.
So when they see the dad pitching balls to the kid at the park, do you think they get Alfred Hitchcock too?
Yeah. Yeah, really? I think so. Oh. Yeah. If they've never been exposed to it and then now they see it, they're like, oh. But on the outside, they probably go, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They do a head tilt like.
Because then if they do that, how come a lot of people don't execute or reciprocate that? You know? Like I see that, right? And I go through my Alfred Hitchcock and then now I'm like, I'm pitching to Taika every day.
Well, why don't they do that?
Yeah, like I'm like, now I see the effects of that, you know? I gotta do that to Taika. Or
I think it just matters what they prioritize. Like maybe that's just not a priority.
Yeah, they don't
maybe
care about
they're just
baseball.
like, oh, noted, you know, like the synapses has been made. And then when they need to apply it, they will. But maybe at that point, they're like, I don't even have a son.
Yeah. Yeah. I like, you know, when we're talking to Dr. Jason Park, Anderson Silva's coach, and he's talking about how he trains fighters, right? Anderson Silva, obviously one of the greatest of all time. And he trains football players. And he realized
Anderson Silva trains football players?
No, Jason Park does.
I was like, damn, he took a turn in his retirement.
And he realized like torso rotation is very similar from throwing a punch through pitching. Same thing. And the minute he said that, I was like, whoa.
I had those a few times.
Right?
Yeah.
So when I was going through that, I'm like, you know, like what some people, they get stuck on the discipline. Like if I want to, like, Taika, you better be a boxer. You better be a fighter. Or else you're never going to learn how to throw a punch.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't need to teach him how to throw a punch. I just need to teach him something that he enjoys that can help him ingrain torso rotation. And when the time comes, that'll be there, right? Kind of like how you did dance and ballet and you never fought ever, but you picked up how to throw a punch like way quicker than I did. Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, I don't need to shove disciplines down Taika's throat. I find what he enjoys, but just make sure whatever he enjoys, I'm giving him the principles that I think are beneficial to him.
Yeah.
And that's And I get that from the yeah.
The epiphany shakes. Yeah, no, that day, that conversation, I can't recall because there were so many of those moments. I thought it was fucking sick. Like, I really enjoy hearing people make connections from so many like different sources, like outside of their field, whatever it is that we're talking about. Like, we could even be talking about painting. And then if this painter or this artist starts talking about how he uses, I don't know, barbecue braising tools now to use on his art, then I'm like, oh shit, that's tight. Like, I love when people can like mix and match a bunch of shit.
That's cool.
Yeah. But I guess I don't get the
I get them all the time.
Damn, you get a fucking shit ton of epiphanies. Like, I know sometimes I'm like hanging out with you and I'm like, yeah, he's not here right now.
Probably shaking on the inside.
Like, I just feel like you're gone. So I'm like, all right. And then I'll wait a little bit. And then that's when I usually ask you like, oh, what are you thinking about?
Yeah. Sometimes it could be a hand touch. I could be sitting on the couch and I touch the texture of the fabric. I'm like, what the fuck? And something will click in my brain. I'm like, that's why they have those mills that put the textiles together this way. You know? Wasn't
there a show or a movie or something like when he would touch shit that like it would communicate something to him? Am I making that shit up?
Sounds so familiar.
I feel like I'm making it
Is
up.
that Dr. Xavier? Doesn't he do that? He could like...
No, he just goes in your brain.
Oh, right.
How do I know that more than you?
I don't know.
You're the X-Men fan.
Do you remember the first time you realized that not all fabrics are sewn the same way?
I think I picked that up immediately.
Really?
Well, because I knew how to like needle point. My mom taught me how to like to do that. So as soon as that came into existence, because I only knew the machines, right?
Yeah.
So as soon as my mom introduced needle point to me, I was like, because I'm like, oh shit, it's different. Yeah. So then by me doing it, then yeah, I did know that.
Because I remember seeing like all khakis kind of go diagonal. If you really look at it, it's this, and then some are sewn like this, and then some are sewn like this. And I remember just seeing like
some are sewn like little circles like this too.
Oh, they are? Oh, shit. Yeah.
I remember
yeah, I'm like, fuck. I remember being like that, like maybe like, but that was probably like 5th grade or something.
Damn, now I want to go back into my freaking memory space.
Yeah, look at this. See, these things are sewn up and down, right? That's the pattern.
Yeah.
These shorts are sewn like this.
Yeah.
This t-shirt is up and down as well. It's just, I don't know, like just the small things that like, well, this is some stretch elastic shit. So it's like even some more crazy technology. But I just remember as a kid realizing that not all fabrics have the same pattern. And then I remember when I got my first jiu-jitsu gi and I grabbed it and I'm like, oh, like the pattern dictates the strength of the fabric.
God damn, you remember like very specific points of learning. I don't remember shit like that. You're a fucking geek.
I know.
Just kidding. No, I don't remember moments like that.
You don't remember the moments?
I think I remember more emotional moments. I think I remember more emotional shit than I do me learning and like epiphanies. Like that type of epiphany.
Do you have emotional Alfred Hitchcocks or no?
The biggest ones will always be smells. Like smells, or if I touch something, like, you know how you're talking about that fabric, and then you were like, oh, all fabrics are not, or all patterns aren't created equal.
Yeah.
For me, if I touch it, I go, oh my God, when I was 7, I remember I had that pizza party. Oh yeah, I had a baby. And then I go into that space.
That's crazy.
That's not crazy, it's just different. I thought, fuck.
No,
it's pretty normal, I think.
I know, I'm not saying crazy in a bad way.
Oh.
I'm just thinking it's crazy that like
how different we are?
Well, there's like, I think the way that at least I learned, it doesn't seem like logic and emotion have the same features, but I think there's the exact same features.
Explain.
So I think logic has its own rationality, right? And the rationality of logic is based off of a very deductive reasoning. Like if A doesn't equal B, but B equals C, then A doesn't equal C either.
Right.
Right. So it's like, it's a very pop, 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 pop. And you go from like very wide hypothesis to something very narrow and you follow this, right? And also there's logical memory, but I think there's emotional memory. There's emotional rationality. It might not go this way, but there's a way of arriving to emotional conclusions.
Yeah. Well, I think even the logic part of it is still very emotional.
Really?
Yeah, it has to be, right? Because to follow that order of logic, then you would have to have concrete facts and evidence, right?
Yeah. But those aren't emotional.
No, I know. That's when it wouldn't make it emotional. But I think a lot of the times that we're working out problems or whatever, logically, it's still very emotional. No?
No.
Okay.
Because I think if you're working out problems and it covers emotions, you're using an emotional rationality.
I see.
Like, so for example, like a girl comes out of her car, bird poops on her car, right? And then she starts flipping the fuck out. And then if you look at it logically, you're like, that's literally 2 sprays of water and it's gone. But emotional rationality, she's been working so hard her whole life for that car. She couldn't wait to take it to prom or to work, to hang out with her friends. That is one big step in ruining her plans, her day. And she's upset, she's frustrated. You know?
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
It has its own rationality, almost its own emotional logic.
Yeah.
And it's not from a macro to micro way of thinking.
Right.
It's more of like, you got to follow where the train leads and understand how this justifies this justifies this justifies this.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But then I've never been taught that way. I've always been taught to remove the emotion and only think this way, you know?
Yeah, I think that's way more beneficial.
To take the emotion out? Nah,
I mean,
that's what you hate about me. You hate me.
It
you
depends.
hate that I'm too emotional.
Right, yeah.
Logical.
I stopped myself. Yeah, I think it depends on what it is that we're talking about. Because sometimes, I mean, it's a strength and a weakness. That's all. Which I think is really fucking awesome.
What's awesome?
Like all your strengths are also your weaknesses depending on the situation that when you use them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so in a relationship, removing all the emotion, focusing on all logic, that's a weakness, right? But like in a business transaction, removing all emotion, going straight into the, the facts of things, that's when it's a really cool strength.
Yeah.
So all your weaknesses are strengths.
They are. Do you like that?
I fucking love that. Like I love, like the older I'm getting, the more I'm loving the understanding that I'm getting of like, you just have to literally be like fucking water. Like everything is that way in life. Like you have to be able to be flexible, to just kind of like flip flop, if you will, like you have to be moldable, but then you have to be able to like be really stern. Like I really enjoy that. Cause I feel like there's no wrong answers. There's only like more lessons. So it's like, oh fuck, I didn't get it on this round. Like I guess I fucked up, but now I learned. So now if this thing happens again, then I'm just better equipped for it.
Yeah.
And it's not like a death. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like that.
I get that most from watching fights.
Right. Like it's going to hurt because you fucked up.
Yeah. And fight records. Because you think of someone that has like a perfect score, right? Like 20-0. They're the best. They're perfect. But then you go, but have they had any challenges? Because if not, then someone like Manny Pacquiao's record might be better because he's fought the best of the best, right? And then you're thinking, okay, he beat everyone once, but what about the guy that lost to someone the first time and then came back and overcame that? Is that now greater of a story? So it's almost like there is no like record that is the most ideal.
Yeah, there isn't.
Because the story is spun so many different ways, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, is it the guy that invests in crypto the first time that blows up the best, or the guy that bombed and then now came back 10x?
Right.
That the best?
Yeah. I think they're both very inspirational.
Yeah, and you technically don't know who's the winner or loser or the best or anything until your life's over.
Yeah.
Because you always have a fighting chance.
Yeah. Or maybe even after your life's over, that didn't even fucking matter.
That's true, because there's people that literally no one knew and then they died and they become the greatest revered artist of all time.
Yeah. Oh, who's one of those? Where like
they're famous after they died.
Oh, no, they actually didn't die. Completely on the opposite end, but oh god, with Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, Disney movie came out, kind of bombed.
Yeah, tanked.
And then like maybe 10 years later resurfaces, or not resurfaces, but like it just gained traction and it got super popular and now it's like a Disney staple.
Yeah.
Weird.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
If he would have like been really sad and like committed suicide, he would never have realized how dope and how big of an impact that movie made.
Yeah. It's wild. And that's what I think is beautiful about life. Like, you just have to stop being rigid. You know? I mean, that's the fucking hardest part.
Yeah.
And the more you can like realize that nothing is ever set in stone other than your death, like that's 100% gonna happen. Like, that's the only certainty, and like the only thing you should just kind of be like, that's right around the corner, so I better do some shit. Yeah. Well, my friends, we've reached the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say?
Yeah. I
didn't think you were.
No, yeah. So we actually are in the process of, in the spirit of designing our podcast space. I know right now it's very probably the most professional one you've ever seen.
Yeah, this shit is expensive, you guys.
Yeah, but we're trying to get rid of this plastic
Being
table.
sarcastic.
This plastic table. But we're trying to really design this. And also, since people are feeling more comfortable, we're gonna get some more guests on. And we are probably gonna just start a podcast channel specifically for this podcast, so it can kind of have a life of its own. So it's not, kind of like on
getting buried between vlogs.
Yeah, they're not piggybacking off the vlogs and getting buried in there. We do have some names, but I don't want to give out the names. So I'm thinking I could put some words out there, and then you guys can let me know if you guys like these words. Want to put out some words?
Go for it.
So I like raccoons a lot. Let me know if you like raccoons. If you want raccoons in the title, let me know if you want pizza in the title. Let me know you want to like party in the title. Let me know if you like, what else?
Wiggles
in the title.
No bears. There's gonna be no bears in the title.
No bears. Yeah, no bears, because Tyka's not really involved. He's part of the bear. We might even rename
That's fucking cute.
What?
I didn't know that was the reason.
Oh, I don't know. And
I was just like, because we have bells now. That was my reason. So I'm like, well, we're not gonna use that name.
Yeah,
we're gonna keep that in the family. But yeah, I didn't even think you're like, Tyka's not in this. That's cute.
Yeah. So yeah, let us know if you like any of those words. Put in the comments below. We'll take a look at that. And I guess we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Shit. Thank you guys for listening. This podcast is brought to you by Barbell Brigade. It's me and Ma Bear's very own brand, and it's all about being the home of strength. We want to be your ultimate strength resource, from our clothes to our supplements to our digital online programming and our facility in downtown LA. Come get strong, because a strong mind, strong body means strong life. Go to barbellbrigade.com. And also, this podcast is brought to you by Junebee. Go to junebeshop.com and use the code BEAW, BEAW, to get 10% off all of our matcha, including the daily serving stuff. So go to junebeshop.com, use the code BEAW, BEAW.